This is officially the first video I am posting in 2025. I created this pattern in 2024, trying to show you guys the process of how to draft out a jean foundation. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I made a video where I talked about the 4 basic foundation to making a pant, and those 4 basic foundation will help you fully understand how to create different pants with different style. Okay, so if you want something very free, there's a different foundation for it. If you want a pants that is a little bit fitted, there's a different foundation for it. If you want a pants that is really fitted, there's a different foundation for it. And on this video, we're actually going to be talking about the tight fit foundation, which is the jean foundation. So yes, guys, welcome back to the channel. Let me just say happy new year to everybody watching me right now. How are you guys doing? How are you guys really doing? Today I will need you to do something for me. This is a new year, so I want you to do something for me. If you really want to watch this pattern and understand the process I followed in making this jean foundation, I'm going to advise you to first grab a pen and a book. Okay, please jot something down. I want you to start jotting. If you have someone that always watch sewing videos and you don't jot down, what are you doing? You cannot always remember it. Like, jot something down. Okay, so yeah, please go ahead and grab you a pen and a book, and make sure that every process and every step I take, you jot these things down and take your time. Practice it again and again and again until you get to at least the point that you're satisfied with. Like, you get to a result that really shows exactly what you want. Okay, and that being said, I am also going to advise you to go watch my playlist. Okay, I am going to create a new playlist that is going to come according to how I have been learning how to make pants. I feel like if you follow the playlist where I start from the first day I made a pant to the second day, to the third video, the fourth video, like that, you're going to understand the process at which I was able to evolve to what it is right now. Like how I started wondering about, pants making, and how I got to the point where I now understand that there are foundations to making pants, and there are some certain process that determines the fit of a pant. There is a way that this video is going to be aligned for you to follow. So if you're somebody that has been wondering and you have been making research to really understand how a pant is being made, like you want to understand the process to the point where you can be able to create something, something different, something out of the box, that we haven't created, you can be able to do that because now you know the foundations to making pants, and whatever design you want to make, you can decide on which foundation to follow, to get your own unique style. Okay, so please go watch my playlist. Very, very important. Pay attention. Okay, I like to say this in pay attention. This video is detailed. This video is simple if you pay attention. And yeah, that being said, don't forget to like this video. Like the video if you find it interesting. Comment in the comment section if you have a question, and if there's something you want to add, let me know in the comment section. Also, I'll be reading comments. And please, this video is not really a beginner's video, but everything, the steps are in beginner's form, but it is like a continuation. So you should already understand how to make like a basic pant pattern, which I have videos for, before you can get to this point where we're trying to sort out some certain issues, okay, which is the foundations. So please, if you're a beginner, just go watch the playlist, you'll be good. Okay, and yes, please, let's get into the first thing that you need to do to draft out this jean foundation. I will start by indicating the starting lines on my pattern paper, so the horizontal starting line and also the vertical starting line. So this is what I mean. I am indicating the starting line where the waist point will be sitting, and also the starting line where my side seam will be sitting. Okay, so for where I have my side seam starting line, I have 1 inch, and where I have my waist point starting line, I have 1 inch. I will go ahead and level this, so you know that this is the side seam. This is where the side seam will be sitting after we're done drafting the pattern, the side of the pant. And this is where the waist will be sitting. So the pant is going to sit from the waist, and this is the first point, the waist. Let's go ahead and mark our vertical measurement starting from the waist point, then to the hip point, then to the crouch, and to the knee and length in that order. Now before I do that, I will minus 2 inches off for my band because I'll be attaching an external band of 2 inches. So this particular pants pattern is not with the band. I'm not drafting with the band. I will attach an external band of 2 inches later. Okay, for that reason I'll start marking my measurement from 2 inches. So taking off the 2 inches, I'll mark my waist to hip. On the screen you can see that I am also indicating the body measurements, how I'm taking it. So go ahead and take yours the same way I am taking it on my body, and then mark this on your pattern paper just the same way I'm marking on the pattern paper. So here is my hip line from my waist after taking off 2 inches for the band, and I'm just going to rule this horizontal line. This is where the hip measurement will be sitting, the round hip measurement. Next, my crouch point, which is my crouch depth. Now this is how I'm taking my crouch point or my crouch depth on my body. I'll place a tape on my waist down to the hard surface that I'm sitting on, and whatever I get, I'll add half an inch to that for ease, and I'll mark this on my pattern paper. So I got 11 inches and I'm adding half an inch to that. So what I'm marking is 11.5, making sure I take away the 2 inches for the band. Please don't forget, okay? So this is my crouch depth or crouch point, whichever you want to call it. Next, we'll do the same thing for my knee line. I will place the tape on my waist down to my knee line, and I'll mark this also on my pattern paper, okay? Just the way it is on my body, I'll mark it on the pattern paper, taking away 2 inches for my band. If you have been watching my videos, you've watched a lot of my trouser videos, this should not be new to you. Like, we're already past this level, but I like to do it whenever I'm drafting on my channel because I feel like beginners are always watching my videos. So I don't want you to watch my video and just get distracted or get disappointed or get discouraged, okay? I don't want that. I want you to watch my video, even the ones that are mainly created for intermediate. I want you to watch it and be like, okay, yes, I can do this. Yes, I know this is the first time I'm drafting out a pant, but I think I can do it. Okay, that's why it is always step by step. Then the next thing I marked is the length. This is the length of my pants, and I made sure I took away the 2 inches for the band. So please make sure you have this measurement indicated on your pattern. If you are doing this with me, have all the points that I have here, have them on your pattern paper, and congratulations, you're done with the first step. Let's go into the next step. Next is for us to mark the horizontal measurement, and I'm going to be marking the horizontal measurement only on the waist, hip and crouch first, then adjust before I mark for the knee and for the length. Now what I'll be marking on my waist, hip and crouch is my round hip divided by 4 minus 0.5, which I'll be adding back to the back pattern. Okay, this is the front pattern, so I'll minus 0.5 after dividing my round hip by 4, and then I'll add ease allowance of 0.125. So what I'm working with right now after doing this whole process is 10.375. I'll mark that on the waist, like I said. So this is like a guideline. I'm marking my round hip measurement on both the waist point, the hip point, and on the crouch. Then I'll start adjusting each and every one of them to now get what they are supposed to have. Like, I'll adjust the crouch to get my crouch extension, and I'll adjust the waist to get my waist curve. Okay, so I'm marking this as a guideline. Now after marking the measurement on the waist, hip and on the crouch, I'll rule a straight line here to like create a box. Now that I have my guidelines indicated, the next thing I'm going to do is adjust the crouch line. On the crouch line from the side seam, I will mark 0.5 inch in before I go ahead to plus 1.25, which is 1.25 inch to my round thigh measurement. Then I'll divide it by 2. And once I do that, I'll mark this on the crouch line ensuring that whatever it is I am marking, the crotch extension is not more than 1.5 to 2 inches. So let's take those steps. On the crotch line here, I will go ahead and mark 1/2 inch in first. This is something I saw Selassie do on her own step, and I have been applying that since on my own pattern, and I love the results. So I'll mark in 0.5 inch here first, which is 1/2 inch. Now I'll go ahead to plus 1.25, which is 1/4 inch, to my round thigh measurement, just to have a little bit of ease before I divide the number I get by 2. So I did that and I got 13.625. So I placed the 13.625 on my crotch line, and then see what I mean by the extension. Now this is where the crotch extension is always sitting, or always sits, and I don't want it to be more than 2 inches. You can see that I have up to 3 to 4 inches here, but I just want 2 inches as the crotch extension. So I will adjust this, and for me to be able to get just 2 inches on my extension, I need to just mark 12. So I'll be marking 12. And for the fact that I marked 12, it means that I minus 1.625 from my 13.625. So what I'll do now is that 1.625, I'll be adding that back to the back crotch measurement when I'm drafting the back, okay? So let's remember that number. Now, if you have the SS tool like I did, please make sure you remember that particular number or the SS that you had, because we're going to be applying that back to our back pattern, okay? So now I'll be creating my curve by extending this line to this point. So I'll extend the crotch line to the hip like this, just trying to create a diagonal line. And now I have this diagonal line like this. What I will do is I'll also roll another diagonal line here. I'm just trying to create an angle that I will get like 2 points or 3 points that can help me mark my crotch curve perfectly, okay? On this line here, I'll mark 1¼ inch. And now I'll use my curve ruler to connect this point to this point and to this point, okay? This will help me get the curve I want to have on my front pattern. Now you don't have to do this, so there are other pants videos that I created and I did not have to go through this process. Now all this process that we're going through to create this particular jean foundation is the fact that we want to be able to get exactly what we are trying to get, okay? That is why we're following these whole steps. Now if you don't want your pant to be fitted, there are so many other videos I have that you can actually follow and just make a normal pant for yourself. Now the next thing we're going to do is adjust the waist. Now we have adjusted the crotch, we have to adjust the waist. And to adjust the waist, first of all, I'll go in here by 1/2 inch. This is the center front. And I'll connect this to my hip line like this. So you can see that gradually we're adjusting, right? We're adjusting to get exactly what we want to see. So what it means is that I have taken away 1/2 inch from my guideline on the waist. I'll go ahead and divide my round waist by 4 plus 0.25 for ease allowance. That's 1/4 inch for ease allowance. If you don't want to add that particular ease allowance, please don't. And I actually added 1 more inch for that. And in case you don't want your pants to have a dart, this is not necessary. Skip it, okay? So what I did was divide my round waist by 4, which is 7.25. And then I added 0.25, which is 1/4 inch to that measurement, plus 1 inch. And the total is 8.5. So that's what I marked from here to here, okay? So we're done. What we'll have to do now is connect that point on the waist to the hip. Now, please take note of how I placed my curve ruler. And if you don't have a curve ruler, just make sure that you're able to get a curve, a slight curve from your waist to your hip, and then from your hip to your crotch, okay? To that 0.5 inch that I marked in on the crotch line. If you notice a sharp point on your pattern paper, please adjust and make it curvy. To mark the middle line of the pants, what you need to do, or what I'm going to do, is place my tape from this point here to this point here and find out what I have there on my pattern, okay? So I have 12 inches. I'll divide that 12 inches by 2, and that is going to give me the middle point of my pants, okay? And whatever measurement I get, I'll mark this on the crotch point, on the knee line, and on the length. So I got 6, so I'm marking this on the knee line now. If you have watched my videos, you know that this part is a must. We always do it, so you should be used to it by now. Okay, this is the middle line of the pant. This is going to be the middle line of my front pant, okay? I'll do the same thing on the length. I'll mark the 6 inches. And then I'll use a long ruler to connect these points together. So this is the center of my pant, like the middle line. You know the crease line on your pants? So now we're going to be marking the knee measurement and the round base, and this is how I will be marking my knee measurement, okay? I'll go ahead and check what I have on my round knee, and I did that. I got 21 inches. I divided 21 inches by 4 and I got 5.25. So what I'm marking on each side of my center line, which is the center point of my pants pattern, I'm marking 5.25, okay? That's 5 1/4, 5 1/4. And I'll connect this to the crotch like this, and then from the extension to this point. And please take note of how I am placing my curve ruler, okay, to connect. Please take note. Very important. All these little things are some of the things that will determine if your pant is going to be fitted or if it's going to be loose, okay? So pay close attention if you want a tight fit, okay? And I'll do this other one. Please don't forget what I did. I divided my round knee measurement by 2 and then divided it again by 2, which is by 4, okay? And I got 5.25, which is 5 1/4. I marked that 5 1/4 from the center line, which I already indicated. That's the middle line of my pant pattern, of my front pant pattern. And from that middle line, I mark 5 1/4 to the right and 5 1/4 to the left, okay? To get this, I will do the same thing on the base, that's on the length. What I have on my knee line, I'll just take away 1/4 inch and I'll just mark 5 on the left and 5 on the right. I shouldn't even be explaining too much. If you're watching this video and you have been watching a lot of my pants videos, some of these things will be very, very familiar to you. So you already understand what we're doing here. You already know what we're doing here. So just go ahead and follow the steps like you are hearing me say it. And in case you want your base to be smaller than this, you can actually reduce it, okay? I use 5, you can use 4 if you want it to be smaller. And if you're on the bigger size, you want it to be bigger, you can use 6. So this is what I have. The next thing I have to do is mark my waist dart, and that is going to be sitting on the waistline, of course. So I'll place my tape from this point here to this point to find the middle line. I'll fold my tape into 2 to get the middle line on my waist. And from that middle line, I'll go down by 4 1/2 inch, which is 4.5 inch. I'll use my ruler to connect this line together. Like connect it to get a straight line, that's what I mean. Next, I'll be marking a total of 1 inch of that on the waist. So I'll be marking half an inch to the left, half an inch to the right like this to get a total of 1 inch. Now remember, while I was marking my round waist measurement, I added that 1 inch for that. And that is why I have to take it away. If not, I'll have excess on the waist, okay? So once we're done, the next thing for us to do is to calculate the crotch length. Now on the front crotch length, I want it to be just a total of 12 inches because I want it to be shorter than the back. So I'm going to calculate what I have from here to this point, which is the crotch length. Now on the previous video I uploaded where I talked about the factors that determine a fit of a pant and the style of a pant, I explain what it means to calculate your crotch length, because the crotch length is different from the crotch depth, and this is also different from the crotch extension. So please go watch that video. Now I got 10.5 after calculating, and plus the 2 inches for band, this is 12.5. Remember I said I just want it to be a total of 12 inches. So I'm going to be taking away that half an inch that is on it by coming down on the waist by half an inch. So I'll deduct half an inch from the waist. So this is how we take out another dart on the waist, okay? Or any excess that is going to be on the front waist. Now what I have here, I'll connect back to the side seam before I go ahead to adjust my dart again. You know the dart that we have taken, the one on the waist, I'll adjust it because of what we just did here by coming down 0.5 inch on the center front waist is going to affect the dart leg, so I have to adjust, okay? It is called truing. This is how you true your dart. So if you have been watching my videos, I've already explained what it means to true your dart, and that's what we're doing right now. We're trying to true the dart. We're trying to make sure that what we have on the right dart is the same thing we have on the left dart, okay? The legs, it is equal. So this is one of the process I use in truing my dart. I'll show you another process, but this is like one of it. Now go ahead and rule the line again, connecting the side seam from the side seam to the center front on the waist. So if you don't want to do this, you feel like you're not yet at the point where you can actually do this and get it, go ahead and use your tape to calculate the leg on the dart leg on the left side and on the right side, okay, and make sure that it is equal, okay? So that's another way you can actually adjust. You calculate the dart legs and make sure that you have equal amount of inches. So this is my front pattern. I will go ahead and cut this out. We're done. The next is going to be the back. For my front pattern, while cutting, I decided to add more inches to the length. This is going to be for the hemming. When I sew, I want to be able to hem this by 1.5 inch at the length. So I folded in the paper there. This isn't new to you, okay? Please, this shouldn't be new to you. So just fold your pattern paper like this and then start cutting. Now you can decide to add your allowance right now on the pattern or do that while you're cutting the fabric. It is up to you. For me, I just left a little bit of allowance on my pattern, but I'll be leaving the other allowance on the fabric while I cut. I always see people come on my videos and say, you did not leave allowance, you did not leave sewing allowance. Why didn't you? It is a choice thing. You can decide not to leave allowance on your pattern paper and actually cut that allowance on the fabric. So it shouldn't be a problem. When you know that you need allowance, please go ahead and add the allowance while you're drafting, okay? Next, we're going to be drafting out the back pattern. Now for the back pattern, the starting line, I used 2 inches for each side, for the vertical side and for the horizontal. Please make sure you do the same. There's a reason why. So I have my hip points, I have my waist points, I have my crouch points, I have my knee points, and I have the length. The same thing we had on the front pattern is the same thing we are going to definitely have on the back pattern, okay? For the vertical measurements. So make sure you already have this indicated on your own pattern. So this is 2 inches before the side seam and 2 inches before the waistline. So next, we're going to divide the round hip by 4 plus 0.25 that we minus from the front. That one that we subtracted, we're going to add it on the back. Okay, so I'll divide my round hip by 4 plus 0.25, and that is what I'll be working with. Now, don't forget to add your ease allowance. And I added 0.125 ease allowance, and I have the total of 10.87 inches, and that's what I'm going to be marking with. Now, I'm going to go ahead and mark this on the hip line, the crotch line, and on the waist, just like before. Girl, it's like we're actually copying from the front, because exactly what we did on the front is what we're doing here, with a little bit of adjustment, which is in the dividing and the allowance, okay? But the same way we marked our guideline and I started adjusting, is the same way we're going to mark the guidelines on the back and then start adjusting to get what we want, okay? I'll rule a straight line here, and this is going to be my guideline before I start to adjust, just the same way I did for the front, okay? Now to adjust, I'll be marking my back crouch measurement, and to start off this whole process, I'll be marking 0.5 inch from the side seam in, okay? 0.5 inch in, half an inch on the side seam, just same way we did for the front. Next, I will say my round thigh or my round lap plus 1.25, 1.25, divide by 2 plus 1.625 that we deducted from the front crouch, okay? So my round lap is 26 plus 1.25 gives you 27.25, so 27.25 divided by 2 gives you 13.625, plus the 1.625 that we did not mark on the front, which is everything making 15.25, 15.25. So that's what I'm marking from here to here, okay? So what it means is that my back crouch extension is going to be way longer than my front, and that is why I did this, because I want the back crouch extension to be longer. And to actually create my back crouch curve, I'll divide this point here by 2 to get the middle line. So I'll place my tape on the waist, I'll go down to the crouch point like this and mark the middle line there. Please take note of this point. Make it visible. Next, on the waist, I'll mark 1.5 inch in. That's my center back. I'll go in by 1.5 inch on this point here. And from this point, I'll go up by 1 inch. Okay, I'll mark 1 inch up. This is like me raising my back waistline. I'm raising it up by 1 inch, and I've talked about this on one of my pattern videos that I can't start explaining right now, but please make sure that you have seen most of my videos, okay? Please make sure, because it's going to actually help you catch up. So I'll connect this point to this point and then to this point. Does it make sense? This point to this point first. From the back waist rise or raise, I'll connect like this. The next is from this point to the extension. Okay, this is the extension, back crouch extension. So before that, to just make sure I get like a perfect curve or a curve that will fit my body, I'll create a diagonal line. And on that line, I'll mark 1.75 inch upwards, okay? So this is just going to be another point that I will use my curve ruler to make sure I get while creating the curve. So you just see what I mean. So I'll connect this to this point and to this point. It's going to be easier if I do it like that. So I'll use my curve ruler to connect this point to this point and then to the extension like this. Now, if you have a ruler that can connect these 3 points or the 4 points that I just connected, if you have a ruler that can connect all of them together, please use it. So you don't have to go through this process. But if you don't, just follow this step like this and it's going to give you exactly what you're looking for. See? So we're done with the crouch side. We need to move to the waist. From here, I'll go out to mark my round waist divided by 4 plus 0.25 for ease allowance. So I'll place my tape like this from the back waist rise, and I'll mark my 8.25 because I actually added my dart measurement here, 1 inch for that, and I'll connect this to my hip. Next, I'll be marking the middle line of my back pattern. So I can now divide my round knee by 4 and my round base, okay? So to get that, I'll place my tape from this point to the crouch extension to find out what I have. Divide what I have by 2 to get the middle line of my back pattern. And that number I'll be marking on the knee line and on the length and also on the crouch here. I'll mark that measurement here. So I got 7, and that's what I'm marking. Sorry, I got 7.5, and that's what I'm marking on the knee line, and I'll mark on the length, okay? 7.5. So I mark 7.5 here. I'll go down, I'll mark 7.5. Making sure that what I marked on the knee line is what I marked on the length and what I marked on my crouch, okay? The 7.5, that's the middle line. From the side seam, okay? Please, from the side seam. I'll connect this line together to get a straight line so I can move to dividing my knee by 4 and also the length. Middle line. The middle line of my pants. Next, we will mark what we need to mark on the knee line, which is the round knee divided by 4. For me is 5.25, which is 5 1/4. I'll mark this to the left from the middle line, and I'll mark this to the right from the middle line. Now, see, the process is the same with the front. The only difference is just the adjustments we did on the crouch and the adjustment on the waist. So most of the time when you're making your pants, if it's not palazzo, a bell bottom, most of the adjustments needs to be done only on the waist and on the crouch, including the hip. The rest is always like the same for the front and the back. I hope you understand. And I feel like the more you practice, the more you're going to be good at it, okay? So make sure that you practice. Don't just watch the video and go and sit down. Please practice, okay? Practice it, create patterns, sew it, and find out where you have mistakes, and then correct your mistake. I'll connect my crouch to the knee and to the length. And pay attention to how I am using my curve ruler, okay? I think this is the first time I am using my ruler correctly to draft a pattern. Maybe this is why I got the perfect fit. Because I love my feet. Like, I use this particular pattern to create like 2 trousers, and I love the both. See, the both pants is like my best pant ever. So will I say the jean foundation is for me? Yes, it is for me, but I think I'm going to be making more of trouser foundation and slack foundation because I want to be wearing more loose fitted pants, not tight fit, until I'm able to grow my bum to the size that I want. Next, we're going to be calculating the total crouch length by adding the front crouch length and the back crouch length. Before we do that, we need to calculate what we have on the back crouch length so we can compare and contrast. So So on the back, I will calculate what I have from the waist to the crotch extension. Remembering that on the front pattern, I had 12. Okay. So whatever I need to have here have to be something that will make everything 29, because my total crotch length is 29. So 29 minus 12 is 17. I need to have 17 on this back crotch length. And if it's not 17, I will have to adjust this pattern to get 17, and we're going to be doing the adjustment together, but pay attention. So I'll be calculating what I have here from this extension. Gradually follow the line until I get to my waist, and I need to get 17. So now I have 13.5. 13.5 plus 2 inches for band. Don't forget we're attaching an external band. So 2 inches for band, it makes it 15.5. So I am short by 1.5 inch. So 15 minus 13.5 is 1.5 inch. So I need to adjust my back crotch length by creating a point where I mark 1.5 inch. From my original waistline to my crotch line, I'll divide it by 3 equal parts. So this original waistline here to the original crotch line here, I'll divide this part by 3. So dividing it by 3, I got 3.2. So I'll mark 3.2 upwards from my crotch line. Okay, from the crotch line, I'll put my tape there, go up by 3.2 inches. So that point now is the line where I'll call it a balance point, because that is the line where I will be slashing my pattern from. That's the line where I'll be slashing my back pattern from. Okay, so it is a balance point where I can slash and it will not really affect anything. And I learned this again from Selassie process. Okay, after watching our video, this is what I learned, and I had to practice this to be able to understand that, okay, this is how to do it, and this process is going to give you the results, like give me the result that I want. So from that balance point, I'll be slashing this pattern into 2 like this, and I will bring in an external paper, like a fresh paper. I'll place it under, and I'll make sure I have 1.5 inch opening on the fresh paper before I tape this down. Now, if you have done any slash and spread with me, you know that this is how you slash and spread to get volume, especially if you're trying to increase the volume of something. This is how you do it. You create a balance point and then you slash and spread. So what I'll do now is I will reconstruct my back crotch length. Okay, I'll adjust it. Because of the opening now, I'll connect this point back to the waist rise. I'll connect that point. See, because of the opening, I'll readjust it. So this is the new line. I'll just clean off this old line. So you can see how I smoothly readjusted this from the waist back to the other point. And once that is done, all I have to do is confirm if the measurement is what I want. So I want to make sure that when I wear this, I don't have problem at the side seam. So what I'll do is calculate what I have here. So what I'm supposed to have here is 11.5 inch, and what I have there is 11. What I did is replace the half inch back. Okay. So this one here is for you to just start confirming measurements. That point, that balance point, what I had before on the balance point before I slashed it was 11.5, and now I have 11 inches. So what I did is I'm adjusting it back and I'm redrawing the line back to the waist and back to the crotch. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just readjusting so I don't have any shortage. Okay. And now I will just mark my dart. So this is how I'll mark the dart. I'll find the middle point on the waistline, and from the middle point, I'll go down by 5.5 inch. I'll go down by 5.5 inch, and I'll mark half an inch on both sides of that line. Please don't forget to make sure that the two dart legs are equal, okay, before you cut. So I will go ahead and confirm if the two dart leg is equal, and if it's not equal, I'll withdraw my line so I get equal dart legs. Okay. It looks pretty equal to me. I'll go ahead and redraw the line, the waistline. Now, to be able to understand this particular process, this jean foundation, to the point where you can make it on your own without watching any video, is for you to practice. I had to practice. If I tell you the amount of pants pattern that I created before I was able to now get it to this point, you will not believe me. I wasted a lot of pattern. Thank God I was using pattern paper and not fabric. I wasted a lot of pattern until I was able to now follow the process and get it. And here is, the final pattern that I decided to work with. So I'm just adjusting my dart legs before I start cutting. So that is done. I'll go ahead and cut out my pattern. This is the back pattern. And like I said, I just added a little bit of allowance to the pattern. The main allowance, which is the sewing allowance, will be added on the fabric. Thank you for watching. Please let me know in the comment section if you had any problem with any of the process. I will help you explain it. And also, if you have any question regarding any other thing, let me know in the comment section. Okay, expect more videos from me. Thank you for watching once more. I love you guys. Amazing, creative. Welcome to 2025. Bye.